Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the NatureCity podcast. I'm your host, Carl Pradelli, and I'm also CEO and co-founder of NatureCity, having started the company over 20 years ago with my wife, Beth. And since then, it's been our pleasure to have served over 500,000 Americans by offering them the best supplements we can make. Today, we're going to be talking about our favorite magnesium ingredient for supplements. Magnesium is getting a lot of attention recently as a supplement. You may be seeing a lot of ads for it. And I'm not sure exactly why, but perhaps it's because people are more stressed these days or not sleeping as well. Both areas where magnesium can help in terms of its calming and relaxing properties. Regardless of why, it's a good thing because magnesium is really important to our bodies. It's involved in over 300 physiological processes in the body, which is a lot. So your body depends on you to replenish the magnesium it uses each day. And if you look at the USDA data, the USDA being the U.S. Department of Agriculture, about 75% of us are struggling to reach the RDA, or the recommended daily allowance for magnesium, which for adults is about 400 milligrams a day. I say about because for men, it's actually about 420 milligrams, and for women, it's 320 milligrams. But 400 milligrams is what we use as a general guideline. So why are so many of us struggling to get enough magnesium each day from our diets? Well, it's really two reasons. The first is nutrient-depleted soil, where due to modern farming techniques or over-farming in general, the soil has been depleted of minerals that we need, such as magnesium. And two, we eat many more processed foods than we used to. Processed foods have a much lower content in minerals like magnesium. So like 100 years ago, it was common for the average person to be getting about 500 milligrams a day of magnesium just from diet, whereas today it's more typically in a range of 150 milligrams to 300 milligrams. So if you have a shortfall in magnesium intake, it's not that easy to detect if you look at your blood work, okay? If you look in the body, only about 1% of magnesium is in blood, with the other 99% being either in bones or muscles and soft tissue. So you get about 59% in bone, and the other 40% or so is in, muscles and soft tissues. So serum blood tests are subject to significant, short-term variations, right? Because the percentage of magnesium in your body is so low that resides in blood, you may not get an accurate picture of your need for magnesium at that point in time. So how can you tell? How can you tell if you can benefit from magnesium supplements or you need to increase your magnesium intake in general? Well, you should listen to your body. You should do it anyway, but when it comes to magnesium, you definitely should listen to what your body is telling you. So if you're experiencing issues like sleeplessness or muscle cramps, or you're struggling to stay regular, or just, having more difficulty coping with stress and just feeling more stressed, if your energy is a bit low, or you have headaches, or, your heart occasionally flutters, this all may be a sign that you need to increase your magnesium intake. Now, in NatureCity, if you know us, we prefer to use plant-based or food-based nutrients in our supplements, right? With magnesium, though, that's challenging to do because the concentration is so low in the food sources available to put in supplements. So, for example, like in our True C supplement, our vitamin C supplement, we use amla extract, and we could get 50% vitamin C in that amla extract, whereas in magnesium, we only could get like about 1% magnesium, right? So if you look at a typical serving of magnesium supplements, it's about 200 milligrams. So if it's only 1% of that is magnesium, you need like about 20 grams to get, 200 milligrams of magnesium. That's way too much, and it would cost way too much to be practical. Now, we like plants because, as you may know, plants play an important role in making, both vitamins and minerals ready for us for us humans to digest, easily and absorb easily. Now, from a chemistry standpoint, plants convert minerals in the soil from the inorganic chemical state to the digestion-ready organic state. This process is called chelation. Now, plants also help make minerals soluble. So again, they're easier to digest. Now, without this chelation process, our stomach and digestive system has to do a lot of work to get the minerals ready to be absorbed and used by the body. So the absorption rate of minerals that aren't, chelated or aren't soluble is relatively low. Now, our favorite magnesium for supplements closely tries to mimic the results of the plant chelation process by creating an amino acid chelate, which uses the amino acid glycine. This ingredient is called magnesium bisglycinate chelate, and it comes from the world leader in mineral chelates called Albion, which is now, as a result of a merger, is called Balchem. Magnesium bisglycinate chelate may sound complicated, so let's just break it down. So chelate refers to a chemical bond that kind of exists between two compounds. So in this case, we're talking about magnesium and glycine. There are two molecules of glycine for every magnesium molecule, which is why the word, the phrase bi is used before bisglycinate to get to magnesium bisglycinate chelate. And when you put it all together, you got your magnesium, you got the two molecules of glycine, and it's a chelate, so you get your magnesium bisglycinate chelate. So hopefully that makes it a little simpler. So here's some of the reasons we love it. For starters, it's both an organic compound and soluble. Okay, so this makes it very easy for your body to absorb and use with very little likelihood of any gastrointestinal distress. Right, both of these are important. You want your magnesium to be absorbed, and you don't want it to cause any stomach or digestive upset. Since it's fully chelated, so those two glycine molecules fully envelop or completely surround the magnesium, which makes it easier, makes it easily absorbable, but it also produces another benefit. You may have heard that you want to be careful about taking minerals let's use a specific example. You want to be careful about taking calcium and magnesium together. Why? Because they compete with each other for absorption, through the intestines. That's not an issue with magnesium bisglycinate chelate because it's a full chelate using glycine, and it actually gets absorbed a little differently. It gets absorbed through something called the dipeptide channel in your digestive system, which is a little different from how minerals are typically absorbed. So you don't get that competition factor. Now, if you take, for example, our True Osteo calcium supplement or True Osteo supplement with calcium, and you want to take your magnesium bisglycinate chelate still at a separate time just to be sure, that's totally okay. No problem with that at all. But generally, you really don't have to because it's a full chelate and is protected from, you are protected from that competition factor between the calcium and the magnesium. And I also want to add, it's also protected from other dietary substances that can impede absorption and bioavailability. These are things like phytates or phosphates. You do not have to worry about that either with the magnesium bisglycinate chelate. The other thing we like about it is the chelate bond is exactly the right strength. It's almost like a Goldilocks thing, not too hot, not too cold. Well, the magnesium bisglycinate chelate bond is strong enough to stay intact, to be absorbed through the intestines, but still can be separated once through into the magnesium and glycine components where they both can be put to use quickly inside the body. Now, of all amino acids, you may be wondering, well, why glycine? Well, one, it's the smallest of the amino acids, so that helps it pass through cell membranes, which really enhances magnesium absorption and its accessibility in the body. Now, glycine is also very important in its own right? It's needed to form collagen. It's a component of the master antioxidant called glutathione, a very important antioxidant in your body. So, it's an added bonus. You get this additional glycine on top of the magnesium. That is the primary reason you're taking magnesium bisglycinate chelate. So how does magnesium bisglycinate chelate stack up to other popular forms of magnesium in supplements? The most common one used in supplements is called magnesium oxide, which is a combination of magnesium and oxygen. It's common because it's very cheap. But in the spirit of you get what you pay for, it's also not that great of an option because it's not a chelate and it's also not soluble. So it's an organic insoluble form of magnesium. That means your stomach and digestive system have to do a lot of prepping work to get magnesium oxide ready to be absorbed. So what's the result? It's not well absorbed, and it's more likely to cause digestive and gastrointestinal distress when taken in larger amounts. This can be magnified if your digestive system is no longer in its prime, which often happens as we age. So you have this double whammy where magnesium is not a chelate and not in an organic state, and also is not soluble. Also, since magnesium oxide is not a chelate, it is more likely to compete with minerals like calcium for absorption. So you have to be careful when you take it. The other common magnesium ingredient is magnesium citrate, which is a salt that bonds magnesium and citric acid together. It's soluble, which is good, and technically qualifies as a chelate, but also can have a strong laxative effect. Now, this may be fine if you're preparing for a colonoscopy, but it's not the ideal way to make magnesium available for the body to use. The reason magnesium citrate has a strong laxative effect is it increases acidic ions in the intestines, which increase osmotic pressure, okay? So to dilute these ions and ease the pressure, your body releases water that results in loose stools or diarrhea. So you have to be careful with magnesium citrate, and especially how much you're taking, and also be conscious of how your elimination is. Are you experiencing loose stools? Experiencing diarrhea? That may be being triggered by this increase in osmotic pressure caused by magnesium citrate. Now, you do not have to worry at all with this issue with magnesium bisglycinate chelate. It doesn't doesn't increase the magnesium ions, which can trigger this osmotic pressure, which can lead to diarrhea or loose stools. It actually offers the best of all worlds, the highly absorbable form of magnesium. You do not have to worry at all about this issue with magnesium bisglycinate chelate. It doesn't increase magnesium ions, which cause the increase in osmotic pressure, which can lead to diarrhea or loose stools. It offers actually the best of all worlds. You get a highly absorbable form of magnesium. You don't have competition for absorption with minerals like calcium, and there's no digestive or gastrointestinal distress when using magnesium bisglycinate chelate. Now, if there's one drawback of magnesium bisglycinate chelate, just to show nothing's perfect, it's only about 10% magnesium. So to get a 200 milligram serving of magnesium, you have to take about 2 grams of magnesium bisglycinate chelate. That can be a lot of pills, right? 2 grams of powder could be 4 normal-sized capsules. So that's why we offer our True Magnesium supplement, which includes magnesium bisglycinate chelate and only magnesium bisglycinate chelate in a convenient drink powder. It comes with a natural berry flavor to help the taste, and we also use some organic stevia to help sweeten it up a little bit. Now, each serving or scoop of powder gives you 200 milligrams of magnesium. If you want to make sure you're getting the 400 milligrams of magnesium, the RDA, you can take 2 servings a day. There's 60 servings in each canister. So if you take 2 a day, that'll last you 30 days. If you take 1 a day, it'll last you about 2 months. If you do take the 2 servings a day, it's best to take them at different times a day to get the best absorption. I used to take the 2 servings at night just to help with sleep. I really like how magnesium helps me relax. It helps relax the brain, the body as we're going to sleep. But after reading the data again, I felt it's better to take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. You can find True Magnesium at NatureCity.com. I really suggest you give it a try. I think you'll find it's the best, most convenient way to supplement magnesium. And, if you do have a great experience with it, we'd love to hear it. So that's it for this week's episode. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to see future episodes. We're also on your favorite streaming services if you want to listen You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and some others as well. You can also go to NatureCity.com and sign up for our email list where you'll get alerts each week when there's a new podcast that gets dropped, and also give you other great breaking news when it comes to the world of supplements. So again, this is Carl Pradelli, and I will see you next week.